What's going on, everybody? We are live. We had a few technical difficulties this morning. We were trying to go live a little earlier. Things weren't connecting right, so we're live here now. I will be uploading some clips of what we spoke about this morning. It was mainly just going over the pre-market levels, talking about the Iran USA war news that's been hitting the feeds here and kind of moving the markets. Trump posted it like 7:23, I believe, this morning. And if we look at the markets, you'll see there was a pretty big spike in volume and a pretty big green candle right at that time. We're we kind of started consolidating then once we came into the 9:30 open. I believe Trump was still kind of talking. The markets were waiting to see where we were, going to try and go for the day. I do believe we got some moves now, so we're going to go ahead and pull back up the charts and get right into it. We're right into the time period where I normally like to take some trades and look at setups. So we'll see what the setups are looking for, and we will see if we can take something and make some money today. So let's go ahead and get my screen shared on here so you guys can see the charts with me. Here we go. We got screen share pulled up. Here we go. So right now we're just looking at MES. It's going to move obviously the same as ES if you're also looking at that. We got a pretty decent move here. Yeah, you can see we had some increasing volume. We're on the 5-minute chart, trying to look into the setups here. And yeah, we hit this same resistance and we did not close above it. We closed again right below it. This wick pushed us up through it, but unable to get a close above here, which is telling. But also, again, we did set a nice new candle close high, and now we're trying to respect these moving averages and get a nice little base here. So we're gonna look at this smaller time frame. A lot of buying, but it's starting to kind of push us a little lower. So we may be getting a nice 15-minute pullback here, which would be actionable. But again, now looking at the 15-minute chart, one thing I have to keep in mind is we did not set a higher high on the 15-minute chart. We would have to go and close above 691 roughly. We're gonna switch over to NQ really quick because I did check this morning earlier that NQ was leading everything. Tech had a gap up basically around the board on all the big names: Nvidia, Apple, Amazon, all of those. So I'd honestly probably look at Tech if I was going to try and take a long. ES and Tech are moving pretty similar, but now if you look at the 15-minute chart here on NQ, we did get a nice new candle close of a higher high above this one right here. So our trend is much more intact here. It looks much smoother. Honestly, a lot less consolidation. So I think we're going to go ahead and stay on NQ for today as Tech's leading, at least if we're looking long. If we do want to look potentially at shorts later, if NQ starts to break down, that would definitely push ES a lot lower. One big thing I was watching was SPY was at a key level. I believe it was 661 was what it needed to break through. And right here, we got that level break at about between 10:15 and 10:20. The 10:15 candle, I think, did technically break it. Yeah, it did. And then we continued to push higher on that 10:20 candle. And now we're pulling back a little bit, but this is really, even looking at SPY, this is a very healthy pullback, which makes me believe ES could set up and potentially also continue pushing higher. Let me make sure I get the right chart there. Yeah, so if you're just joining us again, welcome in. We are trading ES and NQ futures. We got a few prop firm accounts we're trading right now. We're actually running one that we only use during these live trading sessions to try and keep our progress over them tracked consistently. So we're going to look for some trades. If you trade ES and Q, feel free to, join in with us, look for some trades, see if you see a similar setup as we see. Again, none of this is financial advice. We're just trying to give you insights to what it's like to be a trader and help you trade smarter and be a better trader and be profitable consistently. If you like content like this, if you like seeing key levels, you like seeing live trades, you like trade ideas, advanced options insights, things like that. We do release a weekly newsletter, Market Insights and Trading Trends. It's on Substack. You can find it in our YouTube description, bio, everything. It's everywhere. On my Twitter at K2Sing34. We do a ton of stuff there. We have playbooks we give out. We have free resources, free calculators, all kinds of stuff. Just trying to make people be able to be better traders easily. I've been trading for about 10 years now. And if you've been trading, you know it's a constant battle. It's a lot of up and down, especially at the beginning. It's very mentally and emotionally taxing. You have to, learn a lot about yourself as a trader and how you take your trades and how you perform. And you have to constantly fight the battles of wanting to rush a trade, thinking about the money too much, and things like that. We like to try and help people understand those and get those lessons earlier instead of wasting thousands, or for some tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands in the market before you learn those lessons. So again, as we're getting a nice pullback here, I'm going to look at MNQ. All we really want to see is it find some support, but our buying seems to have evaporated and we're getting a pretty decent pullback. Right here is that key previous resistance on NQ that if this holds, we could get a really nice buy here. All we're looking for is a pickup in volume here, and that would be our signal to enter. I'm starting to see a little bit. We're getting a nice hammer on this 5. This is looking like a pretty good trade here that we could take. I want to see what this 3-minute candle continues to do. We have about 2 minutes left on it. Make sure there's no news coming here. We don't have anybody speaking. It's looking... Yeah, it's looking like we're pretty good here on news. This volume slowly picking up. I'm liking this trade more and more as I look at it. 15-minute, we got a minute left on. Might just wait this minute 40 to see how this 15 closes, and then we can switch back to the 3 and 5. Yeah, see 3 wicked back down. And that right there is why we're patient with our entries. We don't rush. We wait for candle closes because a lot of times those candles will fake you out. It'll look like it's going to be a hammer candle or look like it's trying to push back up, and then out of nowhere, sellers will just pop up and we'll get pushed back lower. So we want to see a solid base get formed here and push for a higher high before we enter. I do know also that SPY is getting a good bit of resistance here. Because again, we're right at that 661 level that has seemed to be a pretty big battlefield for SPY here. If you look back last Thursday, we kind of had the same issue where it was really battling that area. We pushed through and then rejected, and then next day we gapped down hard. So key point of inflection for the market here. A break back above 661 and we hold it, probably sends us. And again, with tech leading, I'm assuming it's going to be tech that helps to pull ES higher and pull SPY higher with it. Just being patient with our entries here because a breakdown from here could send us pretty low. We do have some nice previous resistance that could turn support right here at the moving average on the 15-minute. So you may just have to be patient and wait for that 15-minute pullback. We get a pullback into this zone. We enter and look for a push at least towards this kind of resistance level in yesterday's high that we had hit earlier today. But if this trend keeps intact, my final target's going to be up here at pre-market daily high. I'll probably take most off the table up here if we enter somewhere around here and keep a runner to see what bonuses we could get today, since we did have news start the morning and it's all been bullish. So Not really much in the headlines that I would say is going to make the market want to go down. It's just if they're believing what the headlines are kind of saying, if they're believing that a real ceasefire with that war is coming, or if they think it's just noise and or already priced in. So now we're getting good bit of buy volume on this 3 minute. Starting to look like we're trying to create a base here. 5 minute as well. That touched, and now we're getting a hammer candle. Kind of like entry anywhere in here. Let's go ahead and see what we would be looking at here as far as taking a risk. I mean, so looking at it there, I like that. Looking at it on the 15, not as big of a fan. But what we're going to do, 3 minutes, got a minute left. I'm going to go ahead and start buying a starter position here. Got a starter position in, about 4 contracts just to be safe. I'm going to put our stop and go to my 5 minute. Right here. And we're starting to push up. I was only able to get a starter position filled here, but I mean 186, that's not bad. Yeah, I mean we're moving. Starter position only. I was trying to talk type enter. Got a little difficult there, but we are going to take the win where we can get it. If we can push back up, honestly, I like that since I got a decent entry. We don't have to wait for a massive move here before we're at points where we can take profit. I think if we're going to get tired out, it's going to happen somewhere up in here. 685, we'll go ahead and take 2 off the board. Again, I don't mind seeing this pull back a little bit. I mean, realistically, if I could add a few more contracts here, I definitely would. We went a little small in size, just because I did have to set that stop a little lower just to make sure we didn't get wicked out or stopped here on something crazy. But the volume looks great. 15-minute is also building volume. Our hourly candles, let's take a look at those. Nearly the same volume, which probably means we're going to keep pushing up. We still got 11 minutes. So 5 minute. Yep, we have 11 minutes on this 15 as well. So this 15 will wrap up our hourly close here. So this will actually be really telling. And with building volume so far on the 15, I'm liking that. Only issue I'm seeing now is this 5 minute. We had tons of volume, but again, we rejected this level here at 24643, which has been difficult for NQ to get over today. And honestly, if we probably look historically, other days as well, we're starting to pull back here. I'm going to keep an eye on it. We did already have this as a green trade. Don't want to let it go all the way negative down there to where our stop's at, but also don't want to get wicked out and then have the move happen right after we get stopped out. Yeah, I mean, even back here on Thursday again, when ES was at those, ES and SPY were at those same levels, NQ is battling at this level, and you see the sell signal just firing every time it rejects from this level. So possible same setup setting up here. Realistically, I would love to see it get through that in order to stay in this trade. If we keep rejecting it, this might be a trade that I close early. See, we rejected it again. We may have to move our stop here because we are rejecting it hard. We're going to move our stop up, protect our capital where we can, because again, we had a ton of buy volume, but it is rejecting hard off of this 643 level. And I maybe should have waited for that to be our short trade there. But again, everything was looking right. Our volume was building. And that's a trade I'm going to take every time. I mean, you look at the volume on that candle. What's possible here as well is we're going to come down, take out some stops, and then rip right back up, especially with all the bullish news. That's always a possibility. And again, that's why I'm keeping my stop a little bit looser than I probably would like, just to make sure we don't get shooken out and then have to watch a move happen without us. Looking at this 5 minute with 3 minutes left on it, again, the volume's not, there's not a ton of volume here, not a ton of sell or buy volume. So for me, that kind of validates our thesis here that this candle is more of what we're trying to do, because you have the volume to reflect that kind of move. Now we have this big red candle and the volume is nowhere near the same. So to simplify things clearly, uh, for a candle to be the same size as the other candle, you'd want to see the same volume, especially when the candles are right next to each other. When you don't see that same volume, when you see the candle before have a massive amount of sell volume and then barely any, or sorry, a massive amount of buy volume and then barely any sell volume, and you have the same size move, things are kind of, it's kind of telling you something. That discrepancy tells you a lot about the market. Um, and sometimes I mean, the market is 100% manipulated. If you trade it, you know that. That manipulation is best seen in these discrepancies with volume and the candle size, and wicks and things like that. So again, we're staying in this trade. Our thesis isn't invalidated. If anything, it's getting validated more and more as we go. If the buy volume pushes back up on this candle, our setup's looking even better. Looking at our 3 minute, that's a big red candle, but again, less volume. Not as much selling as we had buying on this one. So we're staying in it. We're hoping that this kind of support level here can hold. We're staying above where that wick is, where my stop is. So this is still a good trade. We're building volume on the 3 minute. It got scary for a second. We did have to take some drawdown, but that's typical. If you trade, you have to get comfortable with taking some drawdown and letting your trades breathe, letting them play out, sticking to your thesis, sticking to what got you in the trade, and not being too overreactive. I did move the stop up because we did have it really loose. And again, like I said, rejecting out of this level here that happened on Thursday of last week, that's telling as well. And we want to make sure that we're controlling our risk and holding on to as much of our capital as possible, so we're not just wasting it and throwing it away. Again, some pretty hard rejections. We're still getting more buy volume, but that wick right there, matching that one, we keep hitting these resistance levels, and eventually the buyers are going to get tired and not be able to push through them. We have more resistance here at that 615 level, and this is where the battles are occurring. Let me look at my 5 minute chart here. We have 32 seconds left before this closes, and that is going to probably decide whether or not I stay in this trade. Either we're going to get our stop hit on this candle by the time it closes, or we might just have to close manually. Because again, we're not getting much follow through, which is what we wanted to see. And if anything, we're starting to now start somewhat of a downtrend on this 3 minute. And if we continue at this rate, looks like we're going to go push lower and try and find support maybe around this moving average. Yeah, we're not liking that 5 minute close. We'll switch to the 3 minute close. Minute 30 on it. And again, we're trying to respect this, but I just don't know how much support we're going to get there. We're going to switch over to ES really quickly to see what we're doing over there. ES is holding support pretty well. Still keeping the trend somewhat intact. 15-minute on ES that's closing in 4 minutes was starting to try and look bullish, but now we're getting more wicks to the top. Now, if we go back to MNQ, we're going to see what we're doing here. We're keeping the same kind of setups. Seeing a lot of pressure above and a lot of wicks, which we do not like being in a long here. Check the 3-minute. Yeah. Again, if we close now below here, move my stop up just a little more, try and preserve this capital. I'm not liking this trade anymore. My thesis is honestly getting invalidated with each candle close. It's getting further invalidated. But again, until we break down here with a close, it's not fully invalidated. We just have to wait, be patient. Again, I have this at a level I'm comfortable taking that loss. And for this trade to play out, to put it in perspective, if this closes, I'll lose about $250. However, if it pushes up and I sell just half my position here, that's $250 in the positive, and I will still have 2 more contracts worth $250 up there that could continue growing and be worth exponential amount. And at that point, once I sell those 2 there, I would move my stop up a little bit and guarantee at least around anywhere from $300 to $350 profit. So I'm risking about $250 to gain at least $300, $350. For me, that's a really good risk to reward, especially because I'm getting an instant $250 when I sell those 2, and that's not even my furthest target that I have. So we would sell 2 here, get $250 out, and then ideally look to sell 2 more up here, which would probably give us another $500 or so. So for a total of about $750 if we hit all targets. Let me just take a look here. Yeah, so I would honestly be able to sell right here, which is a little short of that pre-market daily high that we have. So again, risking $250 to ideally, if everything plays out as we are intending it to, make $750 plus. That's a trade I'm going to take every time. The risk is worth it. And as long as I have a decent win percentage, doesn't even have to be, you don't have to have a 100% win percentage. You should honestly never plan on having a 100% win percentage as a trader. That's basically impossible. But getting a majority of them right means you would profit in the long run. It means you could have 3 trades go wrong, but if you get that 4th one right, you'd still be break even roughly, depending on if you hit for exactly 750 or maybe a little more. So that's the math you want to keep in your mind as a trader. Risk to reward will keep you alive. That's what keeps you in the game. The capital preservation and risk to reward is crucial. If you want some help calculating your risk to reward ratios on your trades, TradingView is a great platform. I use them every day. As you can see, when I'm entering a trade here, I can go ahead and say I was buying 2 here. I can figure out what my take profit is, figure out what my stop loss is. That gives me my risk to reward. Also, if you look here on the side, risk to reward, it'll tell you in TradingView when you're setting up that order. So that's great. I also have a free calculator that we offer through Market Insights and Trading Trends that also helps you calculate your risk to reward ratios, helps you calculate how much you should be risking per trade, and then also how many contracts you can trade. So say I was on MNQ and I was buying 2 contracts and I'm not using TradingView. Some people use Trade-Evate. Other people use other platforms. Some people are on TopStep. I'm not too familiar with TopStep's platform, but I don't know if they have the ability to calculate all of this. And if they don't, you could just use my calculator that I have, put in there that you're trading MNQ, you've got 2 units, and say you want to put your stop. You're entering the trade. We'll make this easy math. We're entering the trade at 615, and you want to put your stop down at 600, so that'd be a 15-point gap. Let me just do it on here really quick just to give you guys an idea. Okay. It's going to be hard to get it exactly on there, but that's pretty close. So then you would know you're risking about $60, and then with our calculator, that will tell you if you put in your account size, if that's a good risk or a bad risk. comparative to your account size. Because obviously, if you're trading with $100,000 account, you can risk a lot more than somebody trading with $1,000 account. We're starting to get some movement here. We're honestly just watching this, letting it work. Not really doing much here now. I accidentally showing you guys all that. Took away my stop that I had. So let me add that back in. I'm on the chart, so I'm not too worried about it. These are, I set these stops just so I don't have to worry about the trade and don't have to let my emotions come into play. And a lot of times it's better, especially if you're beginning trader, to just set this and let it go and forget it. You know, you put in your trade, you know that you're comfortable risking 250 to potentially make 250, and then wow, I took off all of my I really took off all my take profits and my stops. I gotta add this take profit back. One thing I do like to keep on my chart is the take profit points, because you can get some really quick moves in this market, especially with headlines and things like that move in the market. So if this chart wicks up here really quick, I want it to go ahead and sell and take my profit for these. I don't want to have to be trying to manually enter it or hit sell really quickly, um, because you're not going to get filled most likely. And I've had plenty of times where it's went up and hit exactly where I wanted it to, and then I don't actually get filled on it because I didn't have my sell set already. So yeah, we're pushing up great here. I mean, 370 in profit. I don't know how long we've been in this trade. I'd say maybe, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. So for 10, 15 minutes of work, we're at $400 profit. I'm not upset at that. We had to take some drawdown. Like I said, it did get a little scary for a second, but yeah, we're profiting now. We're actually gonna move that up just a little bit more because we're not at our 250 that I want. I don't know. I should have remembered exactly where I put that, and it would be a lot easier right now, but trying to do too many things at once here. We'll put it right there. With a big green candle like this, not really too worried now. This trade's playing out perfectly. 15 minutes building. We still got 11 minutes on this close, and it's a beautiful, beautiful green candle. Pushing towards 500 total profit. That's a great day. Realistically, for most people, I would say you hit 500 in a day, you can go ahead and call it a day. I don't know what 500 five times is. So you can trade 5 times a week. Say the market plays out every day and you get 500. That'd be $2,500 in a week. That's pretty good if you can do that consistently throughout the year. I don't think anybody would be upset about that, especially when trades take you, 15, 30 minutes out of your day. You can go have another job, side hustle, hobby, whatever it may be. Again, we're just waiting for this to go hit our first sell point. We don't want to let this trade go red, honestly, but with how much buy volume we just got, I also don't want to move my stop up too much and get stopped out for way less than what we should get. So we're just going to keep everything intact how it is, wait for this first take profit to hit, and once that hits, we will change this to our stop to a 2 contract one and move that up into the guaranteed positive, because 7 seconds on this close, that's massive buy volume. I actually think that's the most we've had this morning. Oh, no, it's not. 935 was a little bit more. Yeah. So, I mean, green candle at open was a little bit more, but that was coming off really bullish news, bullish headlines from Trump, bullish posts. So that's to be expected. Open candles usually the most volume as well. So nothing to worry about here right now. I'm just going to let this one keep going. Don't like how we didn't hit our take profit yet, but again, patience is key. Just to make sure I have this set right. 24,681. 25. We'll go right there. Okay. That next push up we should get our take profit on. Starting to get some volume back. Just needed to push a little bit higher. This is one of those difficult times in trading. Sometimes it can be hard to sit here and watch this, especially as it starts to kind of pull back. You may be wanting to move your stop up. You may be wanting to just go ahead and close. But again, I don't want to react early. We did go set technically a new closing high. We didn't touch this resistance up here. We got a lot of volume coming in. I mean, there's nothing here that's showing me that we're gonna pull back all the way down to where we even have our entry at. So we just have to let this one go. We just have to see where we go. We didn't go into that drawdown and potentially risk 250 just to close out early and take, $300, $400 win. We want that at least 5 to 750 win. And again, like I said, I could move this up and guarantee that we stay in profit, but with the way this has been moving, we've been getting some big candles. We don't want this to, we move our stop up here to stay above this previous resistance and we come down, wick and touch this, and then it rips back up further. And now we took a $50 win just to miss out on, $700 or more dollars. But this is what trading is for anybody who doesn't already trade and is interested in trading. Unfortunately, trading is a lot of waiting, watching, and seeing what happens. But we are back up here in the $400 range, pushing a little bit higher. I think it's looking like we're going to get our first take profit here. Just want to get that to close out. Sell those 2 contracts. That's all we're waiting for here. I mean, it's setting up great, so not much I can do here. While we are waiting, go ahead and open up the chat a little bit here. If anybody has any questions, comments, anything that they kind of, they want to know about trading, anything they want to know about maybe the setup that we're trading here, go ahead, ask your questions in the chat. We can answer questions while we're trading. It actually helps us get through these trades because, like I said, a lot of it is just waiting, watching. Trading's 90% watching the charts, waiting for your opportunity, and then the other 10% is actually taking the trade, executing, and doing what you're supposed to do. The 10% definitely is probably the hardest, I would say. But for a lot of people, just waiting and watching can also be very difficult. And being patient takes some work. So yeah, if you're in the live stream today, go ahead, let us know. Drop some comments, drop some questions. Let me know what you want to see more of. There we go. We actually, while I was asking and saying all that, we got our 2 contracts sold here. So right there is 250 guaranteed profit. And now these contracts are going to continue running. So what I'm going to do here is that's a green trade. We're positive now. We're going to switch to the 5-minute here. And ideally, I'd want to see it stay. I'm going to put it at 25. That's not exactly where I want to have it, but I'm going to give us a little bit of room here. Yeah, so that'd be like $278 profit if it comes all the way down there and hits our stop. I'm not planning on that happening. Ideally, especially with this volume that we're seeing coming in here, we'd want to see us go up and hit up here somewhere. You can see we have these kind of like top wicks topping out at about 737. Uh, we may watch for resistance here, and that's where we can adjust our stop and go ahead and close this early. Some people like to use a trailing stop, and they would set it to where it just trails this, and as soon as we get another pullback, it would probably close you out and keep most of your profit in place. I'm going to keep this stop just a little bit looser, just to see how we move here, and I can adjust accordingly. Only reason I'm doing that is because if you look at this 15-minute chart, we're in a very nice trend, and we're getting a really nice green candle pushing us up out of here with 3 minutes left. If we close this candle somewhere up here, I would anticipate we're going to go up here and hit all the way up at our daily pre-market high. So I don't want to miss out on that move. We're already in this trade. We've already guaranteed profit. So there's no reason to try and close this too early and lose out on all that extra potential money. So if we do go up there and hit, I'm going to go ahead and sell half of this, which would be one contract, and we'll keep the last one running again. Same thing we did before, just repeating it to keep scaling out, keep taking guaranteed profits, and make sure we don't lose money because capital preservation, again, is key. So yeah, there's a successful trade. It's now 11:12. We haven't even been live an hour, and even if we would have went live right away, we spent the first half of the morning looking at levels, waiting, watching, speaking about what we wanted to see happen. And I'll post the clips later, but in that early session that we had that unfortunately wasn't live, I did say that I wanted to wait and see for a pullback on the 15-minute, which is exactly what happened. We had this nice pullback on the 15-minute right to the moving averages. That's where I bought. You see the buy here. And again, I wanted to see it push up to yesterday's high. That was our first sell. And I said I would take out the rest up here at the pre-market daily high. So again, that's why mapping out your key levels, talking through your trades, journaling, things like that are so important, because I saw what I saw on our setups in the morning. I mentioned what I was going to wait for, what I was going to watch for. I waited for that exact setup to happen. When it happened, we took it, we set our stops, we did what we were supposed to, and we let it play out. And now we're looking at over $450 in profit, and potentially more, which is a great day for anyone. Now, I don't think anybody's going to be upset about making $450 on a day, especially just from your computer and just by clicking a few buttons and looking at a chart. And again, if any of you watching like content like this, you like these breakdowns, you like trade ideas, you like getting insights into the markets and how profitable traders read the markets, Market Insights and Trading Trends, our newsletter, we publish it weekly. We're consistently adding more and more to it. We're going to start giving out a Sunday breakdown, which is going to be a very quick breakdown of just key levels to look for futures traders. So for our futures traders specifically, you will have to be a paid subscriber for this, but every Sunday you're going to get our key levels we're looking at, kind of what our breakdown is for that Monday, because Mondays can be a pretty pivotal session. Sometimes you get a lot of movement, sometimes you don't, and that breakdown will set you up with everything you need to know, the key level to look at. If this breaks on ES, we're looking to do this. If, we go below this level on NQ, look to do this. We keep it very simple. We try and make it very actionable, usable information. We don't play around with any theory or, anything like that. We keep all of our levels real and try and give you actionable things that you can trade. Again, we're just sitting in this trade though. 15 minutes still looks good. We got 2 seconds left on it. And there's our close right above yesterday's high. Yep, we closed above yesterday's high and above this level I have marked from sometime in the past. Usually I'll delete a lot of these levels, but for right now, since we're actually breaking out of this one that I had marked here, I'm going to leave it just so I know that honestly probably above this blue dotted line, we're pretty bullish. Below it, I would be cautious. And as long as this 5-minute respects the trend, I'm going to stay in this. We have our moving average coming up here. We have resistance there. So that's all I need to stay in this. And for anybody who is very new to stocks, we'll do a quick little breakdown while we just let this trade play out of how do you find key levels and what's exactly a key level. So key levels are just a price where the stock either has a hard time breaking through on upward momentum or downward momentum. It can honestly go either way. And a lot of times you'll hear of a previous resistance turn to support. That just means if a stock was unable to break through that price before, but then eventually does break through and comes back down and now won't break back down through it, that is exactly what it means by resistance turn to support. It can go the opposite way as well. You have a support, eventually the stock breaks down below it, and then it comes to try and break back up through it, and it can't. That's support turn resistance. So these levels are honestly somewhat easy to find if you know what you're looking for. So if we zoom out here, and again, as always, the higher time frames give you more confidence in a support or resistance. So if we zoom out here, we can kind of see back to about Thursday of last week where we were at these same levels. You see that these candles are coming up to this level, hitting it, and then you see that red candle or that red wick back down. Again, it tries to push back up. You get a wick up to it, and it wicks right back down. You get over here, candle pushes up, right back down. So clearly, the stock is having a lot of trouble breaking through that level. If we come right back to today, still in the same time frame, we get pushes up to this level. Anytime we break through it, up here we broke through it, wicked right back down. Broke through it, wicked right back down. We're doing the same thing. We broke through it. This time we did have a close above it, which is usually very bullish. And depending on what this next candle can do, we'll really decide if that was bullish or if it was just, a little extra buying. And now we're going to continue pushing back down and wait for the next push back up and see what happens there. The more times a stock, touches a resistance or touches a support, the more likely it is for it to break through. Um, think of it kind of as a wall, and the candles or the stock price shooting through it is like a wrecking ball hitting the wall. Sometimes some walls are stronger than others. It'll take one hit and it'll break. Another time, it takes three hits for it to break. That's just how support and resistance works. Different levels have different strengths. You could have a resistance up really high that has a ton of sellers because everybody bought lower, and when it gets up there, people just sell, sell, sell. And you can have less strong resistance in the middle areas of a range where people aren't selling as much. It can sound kind of complicated, but really it's as simple as it's a point where buyers and sellers are fighting. And you can see it on the charts by, constant wicks in and out of that area or in and around that level. Again, we're getting a 5 minute pullback here. The volumes are trailing off as we'd like to see in a pullback that is just a pullback to continue pushing higher. Our 5 minute, I'm moving my stop up just a little bit here to get a little more profit. If for some reason we come down and hit this, again, we risk 250. We'll be well above that in what we make, even if we pull back here. And we can always re-enter. That's one thing you can always keep in mind. You can always re-enter, especially if you have a winning trade. But if I was to keep my stop low and this winner was to turn into potentially a loser, or we go from making 250 to, break even or maybe just 100, makes it a lot harder to enter another trade confidently and let that play out. But keeping it this way, we're honoring everything. We're keeping it. If this trend stays intact and we keep moving, how we should, we'll stay in. If not, we'll get out. And that's how trading goes. So again, we're just watching this trade play out. So if anybody has any questions, anything they want to see, any stocks that you're looking at trading and you want to get another opinion on it, I always like to look into other stocks and see my own idea on it and see what other people are thinking. Again, we got our stop hit here. We're not too worried about that. We locked in about $300 profit. That's all in all, that's still a good trade. I consider anything over $200 good because $200 a day really compounds fast. $200 a day every day of this week would be $1,000. Make $1,000 a week. That's about 4 grand each month. Um, and again, this is really something you can do part time. It's not even noon yet. I could have a whole nother job that I go work from 12 to 8. You can even work part time 12 to 4, make even more money, and trade on the side until you can make trading your main thing. Looking at this hourly chart, we're not liking all of these wicks, but realistically, it kind of looks like we're going to sit here. You got wicks to the downside, you got wicks to the upside. Market seems like it might be happy sitting in this range. So taking, a $250, $300 win on a day like today, never a bad thing. This 15-minute candle is now matched that 15-minute candle. But again, like I was saying earlier, the volume it's still a discrepancy there. So with that discrepancy there, makes you wonder if we're going to continue pushing higher. We're using this support here again. We're staying above it, which keeps this low higher than that low. So we have a higher high, setting up a higher low, a nice wick down there. Another thing to keep in mind, for anyone trading, new traders, advanced traders, whatever it may be, especially if you're not profitable, setting trade limits, such as how many trades can you take in a day. So right now we're up $300, but if I take, 2 more trades that lose me 250, I'm back negative for the day. And now I took a green day and turned it to a red day, and that really messes with your mental, and does not help when you're trying to compound wins and become profitable and stay profitable. What I would like to see here is just a little pullback on this 3 minute, because I actually really like entering this trade right here. But now that we're up here, I'm not going to chase that. I'm not going to enter there. If I was paying, I guess, closer attention and probably trading not live, I may have had my stop there and then another entry right here with like a stop down here. But sometimes it's better just to be patient, and we'll see what this does the rest of this move. I'm going to see what I'm looking at risk-wise here. We're going to put a buy-in for 2 of them right there. And then I'm going to go smaller on this one, so I can also leave the stop leave my stop a little wider here. I don't think we're going to come back down here. That was another really big 3-minute buy candle. The 5-minute built a nice base. We wicked down. Now we're closing up here to potentially move higher. If I wasn't already positive on the day, you could look to enter up here, and still put your stop down here where this last buy is that I have. I don't want to do that just because I don't need to be in this trade. I made my money on the day. I don't need to force anything. I'd rather be patient and take a better entry, and risk a little less, just because we have our winning day. It's not as large as we'd want it to be, so that's why I am continuing to look for trades. But again, you could walk away from this. I do believe we're at about 300 profit on the day. Let me take a look here on my side. We're starting to kind of still pull back here on that 3 minute just a little bit. But again, like I said, I don't know if we're going to get all the way back down to where I can actually get into this trade. Let me log into my broker really quick so we can see exactly what we're looking at as far as profit on today. So on today, yep, we're at $311 profit. So again, that'd be over $1,000 this week if we can just consistently do that, or around 250 every day. Not going to be upset at that. It's not anything crazy, but again, it's not always going to be crazy wins, and different markets, will give you different outcomes. The key is staying in the game long enough to see those crazy big win days where you can do anywhere from 3,000 to 30,000 to 300,000. The possibilities are endless. I've seen people who've made $1 million in a day trading, and I've seen people that lose nearly $1 million a day trading. So possibilities are limitless. But again, you will never go broke taking profits and being in the green. Making money is always better than losing money. We're pulling back a little bit here. I'm honestly going to let this go and hopefully, yep, there we go. We got filled there. Taking a little bit of drawdown here. Honestly, I'm just going to take that one off for now. We're just going to leave two. What I don't like is that this pullback's happening, and it's a fairly large candle. We have no volume though, so that's very interesting. Trying to see where our best support's going to be to put this stop. I mean, realistically, I don't want to drop in below here. So we're going to move our stop up, keep that loss small if we have to take one. And if we take a loss here, that's probably going to be our day, because market's starting to kind of chop here. Hourly's looking like we might get a pretty big pullback, which could take us throughout the rest of the day. And just knowing what we know about how the market's been moving recently, and being in the markets for so long, we're going into the midday session where it's probably going to start to just chop and consolidate, and we don't want to be stuck in that. We don't want to sit in front of the camera or in front of the charts all day. So we'll go ahead and get out if that starts to happen. And it could consolidate. It could start to pull back on the hourly chart, like we said. Pull back somewhere into here, build a nice base, even pull back somewhere in here, build a nice base, and then continue higher when we come into that power hour from about 3 to 4. Most times the market moves a lot at the open from 9:30 to anywhere from 10:30 to 11:30. Then you kind of slow down in the midday. People go to lunch. People are off the charts. And then you get pick up towards the end of the afternoon. People are, closing out their positions. Hedge funds are making their moves to position for the overnight session and position for tomorrow's session. So if you want the most out of your time trading and you don't have all day to trade, again, I would look into the 9:30 to about 10:30, 11:30 session, and then from about 2:30 to 4 when market closes, you could also trade that session, and you get some pretty good moves. Except for on Fridays. Fridays, the 3 to 4 can be a little slow. Power hour is not as big. Again, we are building some volume here on our 3-minute. 5 minutes not looking as good. We got about 20 seconds, and I'd like to see it close above 614. Just trying to push up here. We're going to see where this close goes for this 5-minute candle, and that's probably going to be a pretty big tell. If we push lower, we got about 2 seconds. Starting to push back up here. We're back positive on the position, so that's what we wanted to see right there at that close. Yeah, we got a nice base here. We did touch this same level, but we have a close higher, so I'd consider this so far a higher low. Now we look for another higher high. It's as simple as that. We're staying above here. I mean, that close was rough. Like I said, going to this midday session, we don't want to get stuck in this all day watching chop and just sitting staring at a chart that's like paint drying. So yeah, we're coming up on about an hour of being live, and so far, over $300 in profit. It's not bad for an hour's work. We are going to keep letting this trade play out. I'm going to keep staying on these small time frames because that's where we should see our move get validated first. We want to see our 3 minute come up and close somewhere above 24,640 on NQ here. Volume's still kind of low, so I'm not having a lot of confidence in this, but we're sticking with it. We can do some Q&A while we wait. As we wrap up the last few minutes of this live stream, we'll let this trade play out, and then we will probably go ahead and wrap up the live stream, close things out. Hopefully we get to, see this trade get closed. Move that back up. Yeah, hopefully we get to see this trade get closed out here, either for profit or at our stop before we end this live stream. Most likely I will just either close it manually or let it sit. Don't want to be stuck in it all day, but also profit's profit. Yeah, so 3 minute, we did not get continuation with good volume. We've got a wick on it. 5 minutes, putting in a wick here. We still have 2 minutes on that one, so we're stuck watching these candles. Unfortunately, it's very, very slow right now. We'll probably give this 5, 10 more minutes and make a decision there. We can always just call it a day. No harm there. Step away, take a break, go do whatever we need to do, and we can always come back, like I said, at that end of day session. Before we wrap up here, make sure if you're not already subscribe, hit the like button. Makes it much more enjoyable to do these lives when we have some support, showing that you guys are enjoying what we're putting out here. If you have any comments, anything we could do better, any things you want to see, let us know. We're trying to make this content for people to become better traders. So whatever you feel like you need to become a better trader, or whatever you need to see, whatever it is you have questions on, let us know. We will make content around it. That's the point of this. It's to help anybody in the audience out. It's not just for us to, talk about our wins and talk about how successful we are trading. That's not the point of this. The point is to show you that anybody can do it. You can do it. You just have to take the time, be patient, put in the work, and you'll get there. I have a friend that, I introduced to trading, and he's been trying it out for probably about the past month or so. And just yesterday, he texted me and said that he passed his first eval on a prop firm account, and he's moving to a funded account, which means if he's able to do the exact same thing that he just did in that eval, he'll be taking a payout and be making money from trading. And it only cost him, $50 to buy that account. Again, I mean, I do believe he has bought a few accounts, because when you're starting out with trading, you're going to take losses. You're going to blow up prop firm accounts. It's going to happen. You can't let it get to you. You need to learn from it. It's not a loss. It's not a complete failure if you learn something from it and take that learning and apply it to your next one and get better each time. It may take you, 3 or 4 failures, 3 or 4 prop firms blowing up before you finally get it and it finally clicks, but you can, you could go through 5 of them and waste, you waste $500, but if you get that first $1,000, that first $3,000 payout, that makes up for a lot of losses, and then you can keep doing the same thing over and over again and getting better along the way. So yeah, I'm watching this trade here. 3 minutes breaking down, 5 minutes breaking down. We're below here. I probably am going to stop this if we close below that. So I'm going to move. Yep, there we go. So here comes a downward move. I was kind of expecting to see it a little bit once that started to play out, and this 3 minute rejected right here, these moving averages. Now we're getting a sell down. So that pretty much closes us out for the day. Probably am not going to take another trade today. We'll sit with this $254 of profit. So not as big as a day as we wanted. But if you look at how we've been moving today, This was our 9 o'clock open. Yeah, so 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, now 11 o'clock candle. There's not much you can do here. These actual candles are minuscule. The wicks are decent, but we're not really getting much direction. We're just sitting. So on a day like today where you're not getting much direction, there's not a nice trend, it's not pushing up or pulling down in any direction, you can't be upset at profit. And that's something you'll learn as you spend more time in the markets, that some days are better than others. Some days you'll be able to hit a $1,500 winner within the first 5 minutes, and other days the stock won't even move 5 points in the first 2 hours. So we had news this morning. You see the massive push up. When that happens, now it has to consolidate and decide, okay, was this move validated or do we need to pull back lower? What other news are we pricing in? And that's kind of where we're sitting at today. But this does set us up great for the afternoon session if we continue pulling back. For anybody who's going to continue trading today or pop on later at about 2:30 to 3 for that power hour session, I'd look to see if our hourly's pulled back to somewhere in here in this, I would say 360-ish range, anywhere around there. I would look for it, go to your 15 or your 5 and start to see it push up out of there. And that would be an actionable trade that I would take. If we find some nice support here for it to push back up to the same range we're consolidating at now, you could get a really nice trade out of that. We'll just throw one in, like I said. Even if you buy just 5 MNQs, which is about half of an NQ, a push back up even to this resistance that we had kind of been rejecting at would be over $1,000 move. These are the moves that we typically look for, but like I said, not every market's going to move that way. We're not going to get nice, clean moves. If you entered on this candle, that's kind of the same move there. You can make a quick 1,500 in just an hour from that 8 o'clock candle open to the 8 o'clock candle close. Sometimes you get those moves, sometimes you don't. Don't try and fight the market. Take what the market gives you, and trade accordingly. So honestly, that's all we have for this live session. We're gonna wrap it up right now. We've been trading for about an hour, and again, we made $250 profit in an hour session. We're not upset at that, and we will be back not this next Monday, but the Monday after that for another live session. We are considering doing more live sessions. We just want to hear from you all if these sessions are helping, and what you want to see in them. We can even, do some post-market recaps on some days. We can go over our trade ideas that are published weekly in Market Insights and Trading Trends, and also tracked live on Collective 2, so you can see exactly how our portfolio has been performing. And just to, give you an idea, we have been outperforming the S&P 500 since we've been trading on Collective 2. We are consistently profitable, and we're approaching about a year of consistently tracking and trading our trade ideas for Market Insights and Trading Trends on Collective 2. Again, we're going to continue putting out the weekly post. We're adding in Sunday posts for all of our futures traders, and we're going to start doing hopefully some daily recaps and some daily notes that we'll post to Substack as well, just to help you guys keep up with the market, know what your key levels are, know what you're looking at, and become a consistent, profitable trader. That's our goal. Go ahead and stop sharing my screen here, and we will get us back full screen here. So yeah, that wraps up our stream for today. Again, like I said, subscribe, drop a like, drop a comment for what you want to see. We're going to keep doing this every other Monday. We'll keep going live. We're going to try and add in some more live streams. We're going to keep trading for you all, keep posting our trade ideas on Substack. So follow along, and hopefully we can all become more consistent and better traders along the way. I'll catch you guys in the next one.